Hey everybody, welcome back to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I'm your host Gordo Gambles and welcome back to another Best Bets video, this time for UFC 300 for the biggest card of the year, the biggest card of potentially all time on paper at least, and one that will definitely deliver. I know we have ourselves one of the most highly anticipated cards at least, and that is going to require, a good breakdown of what we're going to go out there and put our money on for a very fun card this weekend. And thanks to my friends over at Cool Bet, I am bringing you my favorite bets on the entire card. If you want a full card breakdown or DraftKings analysis, check out other videos on the channel here, but I'm just going to quick fire through my favorite lines, ones that I'm personally playing over at CoolBet, and ones that I'm happy giving out to friends who are also watching the fights. Now, this won't cover everything I'm playing. Be sure to check out my Twitter at GamblesGordo to see more, but personally, I am playing all of these, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they can tally up on what only is an entertaining card, but hopefully a profitable one as well. Let's get things started with the obvious one. I'm not wearing the merch today, but I am a huge Max Holloway fan. If you can't tell by the accessories we got going around here, this will be hung up tomorrow for the fights, but I'm on the underdog here, Max Holloway, not only because I'm a huge fan, but I think he has more tools of getting it done. He's a guy who is going to be a high-volume striker, and technicians have been able to beat him. Volkanovski has been able to, but that's not Gaethje. Gaethje's the guy who's going to go out there and swang and bang, and the guy who I think has more volume, better durability of the two, and more chances to seal the deal here is going to be a guy, Max Holloway, who I think has more opportunities to get it done, let alone the fact that this is one that is anticipated to go all 25 minutes. I'm out money on the dog in what is a very, very close fight. I think Holloway has a lot of the tools here. I can trust him to be secure to go all 25 minutes, and a guy who I think has enough volume to outshine someone in Gaethje who, yes, can absorb a lot of damage, but who I've also seen put out in the past. I'm on my guy Holloway here emotionally, but also financially. We get plus 135 right now on the money line. Line has come down, but that's because people agree with it. It is a close fight, one that is anticipated to be a great one at that, and I'm going to have my money out here on the dog. Let's go Holloway. Next one up, this is a bit of a niche one, but it's my favorite bet on the entire card. And I've talked about it on a few shows this week. It's Jim Miller finish only. And if you guys don't understand what that is written down as decision no bet on CoolBet right now. I'll show a picture of the bet slip right here. But it's a bet that pretty much says if this fight goes to the judges' scorecards, we get our money back. It is pretty much out of these two, if there were to be a finish, who gets the finish? And I think it's Jim Miller this week. He may be the older fighter, but he is the guy who I think has more finishing upside. He's the guy who's gotten the most wins, most finishes in UFC history. He's a very powerful guy at that. A lot of power in his hands, phenomenal submission game. He's facing a guy in Bobby Green who, yes, Bobby Green's talented, but Bobby Green's more of a point fighter and a guy who will win those decisions, which is why we want this finish only line. You add in the fact that Bobby Green was just put out cold, brutally, one of the worst stoppages we've seen in a long time. Only 4 months ago, I do think his chin there to be caught. Green also struggles against lefties, and that's something that Miller is here. I think Miller has more opportunities. Pretty simply put, if this fight finishes, I think way more than 60, 70% of the time, Miller's the one getting his hand raised if there is a finish here. There's 100% of a world where Green can get a decision win, but in that case, you get our money back. I really do like this Miller decision no bet prop. It's minus 145 on CoolBet right now. I love that line. Another line that I personally have a couple units on is the fight doesn't go in the co-main event. China versus China, great bout. And actually, we're going to talk about a few fight doesn't go bets later in the card as well, just because, you know what, this is one where Dana White has upped the bonuses to 300K. People are going to be throwing all on the line, and I do think a finish materializes. This one here was placed before that news of 300K. I just think it's one that rates out pretty well. Weili is going to have a field day with top position here on the mat. She's a phenomenal wrestler, phenomenal jiu-jitsu practitioner, but also great ground and pound. She landed way too many strikes to land most in the fight there against someone who I think is more physically imposing and a better jiu-jitsu artist in Amanda Lomez. And I do think if she gets that same opportunity here against Yan Zhao, which I think she will, she'll be able to finish the fight. We just saw Yan Zhao get battered by Carla Esparza, a girl who Zhang Weili was able to go out there and finish herself. It all adds up for Zhang Weili to be able to go out there and get a finish with her dominant ground game. The reason I'm taking the under and not just the finish line for Weili is because Yan Zhao has shown that she has good counter striking. We have seen Weili upset and put out before, as Rose did at that head kick, and I do think that it is better to cover our bases here if Yan Zhao is able to land that counter strike and land that power punch and pull off the big upset. More times than not, it should be Weili, but this is a spot where I do like the under 25 minutes to get that finish, and I do think it ends more times than not. Next up, a bit of a chalkier one that has a bit more juice to pay on this one, but I'm liking the under in the Jiri Rakic versus Alexander Rakic fight. Light heavyweight, Jiri Rakic is a very violent man, and he's a guy who is going to be initiating this pace here. I think if it was just a Rakic fight, I understand why people would like the over. Rakic is okay to stand on the outside and counter strike, but Jiri won't allow that. Jiri's a guy who's going to go forward at all times. He's looking to kill you with powerful combinations going forward, but he also leaves a chin up high to be countered, laying for this fight, I think, to finish more times than not. I think Rocky's going to be the better counter striker, but he's never dealt with the pressure and the samurai ninja warrior-ness of someone like Jiri Rakic. That allows for, I think, a great fight. Jiri's going to be pushing forward, and I think he's going to have the incentive to go out there and finish the fight to reclaim his belt, whether that be a finish in his own right or overextending himself being caught. I do think a finish materializes. I'm on the under there as well. And last but not least, Yusuff plus 122. I really do like this guy as well this week. I love Diego Lopez. His opponent's very explosive, very dynamic, and you know what? I like cheering for Lopez, but I think making him the favorite in the spot, especially this point, is a bit of an overreaction. There was a reason Lopez was 50-50 against Gavin Tucker and an underdog to Pat Sabatini. That's because although he's a ton of finish equity, isn't the best minute winner. We've seen him clip before, and now he's taking a big step up against a guy, Yusuff, who's been at the top, who has headline main events, and who is a very dynamic striker in his own right. Add in the fact that I think Yusuff is just more well-rounded. Not only I think Yusuff's going to win the striking exchange, but can compete in the ground as well. I think more times than not, he's the one winning the minutes and getting his hand raised at the end. If Lopez goes out there, gets a finish, I can see that. I wouldn't be surprised. I just don't think it happens more than 60%, which is where that line is right now. And they were getting value on the underdog here, Yusuff. You should be able to establish top control if you decide to do that. But more times than not, win the minutes on the feet, be the better, more composed striker, better technically, as well as fought the better level of competition. I like Yusuff here. Plus 122 to back him on cool bet. I do like this price tag, and he is another person I'm picking. There are 5 bets I'm personally playing this weekend at UFC 300, one of the biggest cards of all time. A few more that I just want to quick fire out there for you. I'm also liking the home fight doesn't go the distance, because I do think you have yourself a killer in Kayla Harrison there. Also, don't mind me some Calvin Kattar moneyline. I'll talk about that a bit more in my breakdown, so check out my Twitter. And the KO prop in the very first fight of the night. That's a lot of plays I've given out for you guys, so if you want to know more about them, check out either my full card breakdown here on the Plays and Fades YouTube channel or my Twitter at GamblesGordo. We'll be breaking down why I placed every bet. But there's a quick fire action for you, some good bets I'm playing out here on CoolBet. Be sure to use code Gordo for a 100% deposit match up to $200 on CoolBet. I wish everyone all the best of luck in all your DraftKings and betting endeavors at UFC 300. Enjoy a phenomenal card, and let's make some money, guys.